Hello, niece and nephew, and all my ancestors watching me from above, maybe some from below, some of them are not that nice. Welcome to the roast of Uncle Roger, or as they say in Malaysia, time to get goreng. Set up the BBQ now. Sorry, I have to roast you with my foreign voice. I'm too poor to afford a voiceover as my YouTube channel has only 2 whole subscribers, me, and of course my mom. She's probably watching this in a prayer circle right now, begging for me to stop embarrassing the family and my ancestors. I would have done the voiceover myself, but my throat's wrecked from shoveling down your MSG-soaked fried rice from your restaurant. Seriously, my vocal cords are as fried as your rice, and just as bland. And it's always fun to hear a foreigner try to pronounce goreng. Anyway, enough about myself and my exciting life. Let's begin the roast session. Alamak, I will say it in your native tongue also so you understand. Let's begin the goreng session. I don't have much money, so I can only do a 10-minute roast because the website only gives me 10 minutes per week to generate the video. You lucky boy, I can go on forever with this shtick. Just like your criticized fried rice shtick. It is an evergreen industry. Lasts forever. It never gets old. Well, actually, it kind of does, but we'll pretend it's timeless. 10 minutes is all you get. Let's go. In this video, we'll dissect his infamous fried rice recipe to determine if it's a delicious delight or a recipe for disaster.
From a heart-stopping amount of MSG to a pool of oil that could fuel a small country, we'll explore the dangerously tasty aspects of Uncle Roger's culinary creations.
Ah, Uncle Roger. The man, the myth, the orange polo shirt, MSG-pushing legend. The self-proclaimed fried rice connoisseur who has taken the internet by storm. You've become the self-appointed wok-frying guru. But let's be real for a second. If anyone followed your fried rice recipe daily, we'd have a global shortage of heart medication and an epidemic of oil-stained kitchens.
But I guess that's the secret, right? Keep everyone too unhealthy to fight back and critique your cooking.
I've been to your newly opened restaurant and honestly, the rice is a bit soggy, and I saw some chefs using colander to wash the rice. Is that not culinary blasphemy, Uncle Roger? Think you need to send your chefs back to basic culinary school. Start from basics. Learn how to fry eggs first. While we all appreciate a good laugh and a solid dose of nostalgia for our favorite Asian aunties, one must ask, is Uncle Roger's fried rice recipe actually the golden standard of Asian cuisine? Or are we simply being entertained into culinary confusion?
Akin to decades ago, where fusion food was all the rage, resulting in culinary confusion. I mean, this is the same guy who probably thinks fusion food means slapping a piece of sushi on a hot dog bun. What's next? Dim sum tacos?
It's like Uncle Roger is dusting off some ancient strategy from the culinary dark ages, aiming to confuse our palates instead of delighting them. So are we really savoring the golden standard of fried rice? Or is it just a clever ruse to keep our taste buds guessing? First, let's talk about your love affair with MSG.
You call it the king of flavor, but we all know you're treating it like culinary magic dust to cover up your crimes. You talk about MSG like it's oxygen, sprinkling it like a 90s hip-hop DJ scratching a record.
Uncle Roger, if we inhaled as much MSG as you throw around, we'd probably glow in the dark.
If Auntie Helen had eaten your fried rice every day, maybe she'd be glowing. But from high blood pressure, not happiness. Actually, come to think of it, she might have saved herself a lot of trouble if she had just washed her rice properly. Using a colander to rinse off that extra starch not only keeps it from turning into a gummy mess, but also gives it a nice fluffy texture.
But hey, that requires a little extra effort, right?
Who needs fluffy rice when you can drown it in soy sauce and hope for the best?
Now, before we continue with the roast of Uncle Roger, press that subscribe button and join the fun. Because who needs a heart attack when you can have a plate full of deliciousness without the health risks? Now onto the wok. Uncle Roger, we get it. The wok is a sacred item in your kitchen.
But you're treating it like it's the Excalibur of the culinary world.
The way you criticize people for not having one, relax.
Not everyone has a wok seasoned by generations of ghosts in a kitchen hidden in a Chinese mountain.
You act like without the wok, people are frying rice in a toaster.
Hiya, Uncle Roger. Some of us have non-stick pans and still manage to cook something edible.
Oh, the cooking technique or lack thereof.
Watching Uncle Roger fry his rice is akin to watching a very enthusiastic toddler play with their food.
There's no finesse, no careful attention to texture, just a chaotic dance of spatulas and a rice cooker's best efforts.
His instructions, while humorous, often lead to more questions than answers.
How do you manage to stir-fry rice without making a glorious mess?
Should we just embrace the disaster or be content with our less than stellar outcomes?
It's a real toss-up.
Then there's the oil.
Or should I say of oil.
You're basically doing an oil spill reenactment in every video.
You drown that rice until it's more lubricant than food.
You could run a small car on the amount of oil you use in one meal.
If anyone made your fried rice regularly, they'd be leaving greasy fingerprints everywhere, and not because of technique, but because they'd be sweating oil.
You joke about Western chefs, but if they did this much deep frying, they'd be slapped with lawsuits for putting everyone's health at risk.
But what really sends us into the danger zone?
Your precious soy sauce.
The salt content in your fried rice is so high that if anyone looked at it for too long, their blood pressure would skyrocket through the roof.
Uncle Roger, you're not salting the food, you're like it's lapchung.
Someone following your recipe for a week would need a dialysis machine to go with their meal.
Hiya, you say. Yeah, that's probably the sound our kidneys make after eating that much salt.
Oh, and Spam?
Spam?
Is this fried rice or survival food for the apocalypse?
You criticize other chefs for adding too much flair or straying from tradition, but then you toss in a meat product that's literally older than the grandparents in your audience.
It's not just food. It's a brick of processed salt and fat.
If Auntie Helen ate this stuff regularly, her sodium levels would be through the roof.
Maybe why she left, Uncle Roger.
No one wants to eat canned meat every day.
And of course, no review of your perfect fried rice would be complete without addressing your gatekeeping of Asian culture.
We get it, Roger. You're the fried rice police, and anything that isn't 100% authentic is an insult to your ancestors.
You criticize anyone who dares to add creativity to their rice. But if we follow your recipe to the latter, it's not our ancestors we're connecting with. It's our future cardiologist.
I mean, really, you think the way to make rice is with a wok, MSG, and salt?
Give me a break!
Honestly, your recipe feels like a challenge to see how much our bodies can take. Every spoonful is like playing Russian roulette with cholesterol. 1 bite? Fine. 2 bites? Still okay. 3rd bite? Call the ambulance.
But you know what? As much as Uncle Roger loves to roast others, let's take a moment to appreciate Kay's cooking. Sure, her fried rice might not win any Michelin stars, and it might look a bit chaotic, but at least she's not trying to kill us with a sodium overload. I'd rather eat Kay's quirky creation and live to 100 than follow Uncle Roger's recipe and end up clutching my chest.
You see, Uncle Roger, maybe Auntie Helen left not because she was tired of your grumpy hiya, but because she could see the writing on the wall, or more accurately, the cholesterol on the plate. If she had stuck around to eat your fried rice every day, forget about slimming down. She'd be rolling into the clinic for a triple bypass surgery, wheezing out hiya with every heartbeat. Now, let's dive into the actual ingredients. Uncle Roger's recipe is notorious for its simplicity. Egg, peas, carrots, and a dash of soy sauce. Wow, groundbreaking. Who needs a rainbow of vegetables or a protein that doesn't come in a sad little packet? In the culinary world, variety is the spice of life, and Uncle Roger is serving up, what exactly? A beige plate of disappointment? Sure, his fans might be dazzled by his keep it simple mantra, but let's face it, even a toddler with a crayon could come up with a more colorful and imaginative fried rice. Now let's talk about your disdain for non-Asian ingredients. You sneer at Western chefs for daring to add things like peas or chili jam to their fried rice, acting like they've committed culinary blasphemy.
But Uncle Roger, you toss Spam into the mix like it's some sacred delicacy. How do you have the nerve to criticize anyone else's choices when you're using canned meat with a shelf life longer than most marriages? If anyone else added Spam, you'd probably throw a hiya tantrum and accuse them of ruining the dish.
Speaking of criticisms, let's take a moment to appreciate egg fried rice. Colander using girl.
While she may not have the flamboyant persona you boast, she brings a different kind of flair to her cooking.
She is easy on the eyes.
Hersha knows how to balance flavors and incorporate healthy ingredients without drowning everything in oil or MSG.
Her approach is refreshing, showing that you can create delicious dishes without sacrificing health.
It's like she took a course in moderation while you were busy building a culinary empire of grease and sodium.
And the icing on the cake is she knows how to wash rice using a colander.
Hiya, that's genius.
Honestly, Uncle Roger, your fried rice is not just a dish. It's a health crisis waiting to happen. Between the excessive oil, MSG, and salt, you're practically running a cooking channel for future ICU patients.
Maybe Auntie Helen left because she saw where this was heading, and she didn't want to be part of the fried rice apocalypse. If we followed your recipe, we'd be walking heart attacks waiting to happen.
So, for the sake of our health and Auntie Helen's sanity, maybe it's time to dial it back. And just a thought, if you ate your own fried rice every day, you wouldn't need Auntie Helen to leave you. You'd be getting wheeled out by paramedics instead.
Learn to be a beast, Uncle Roger, not a grease-slicked, MSG-loving wimp. So if you're ready to unleash the beast within, then click on that little playlist in the top left corner to dive into a treasure trove of videos designed to eliminate your beer belly while listening to more roast and contemporary horror stories.
Think of it as your one-stop shop for transformation. Because let's be honest, the world could use a few more beauty beasts and a lot fewer fried rice disasters.
These videos are here to help you glow up without looking like you've been rolling in Uncle Roger's kitchen oil. You'll learn how to strut your stuff with confidence, embrace your fabulous self, and discover the secrets to beauty that don't require a medical alert bracelet.
So, what are you waiting for? Hit that playlist and get ready to laugh, learn, and unleash a version of yourself that even Auntie Helen would approve of. You know, the one who doesn't drown their food in MSG?
After all, who doesn't want to be the life of the party, strutting in with inner radiance and outer glam? Click it now and let the beauty transformations begin, because life's too short to look like you just had a dinner date with a deep fryer. Uncle Roger's jokes are about as predictable and bland as British food without seasoning. Yes, that bad. Every punchline lands with the force of a wet noodle and the subtlety of a hammer.
Hiya, you cook rice in the microwave? Fooyo, that's like taking your Ferrari to a drive-through car wash. Sure, it works, but you've dishonored the car and your ancestors.
Really, Roger? Comparing microwaving rice to a Ferrari? Or how about this masterpiece?
And why you use olive oil in stir-fry? That's like using chopsticks to eat soup. Completely useless, and now you just look confused.
Confused? The only confusion here is how this joke passed as funny. Olive oil in stir-fry isn't a crisis, Roger. It's not the culinary apocalypse you're making it out to be. But sure, keep making that comparison. We'll pretend to laugh awkwardly. Uncle Roger is basically that one uncle at every family gathering who's 3 drinks in before dinner, telling the same tired joke about his glory days for the 57th time, and offering unsolicited life advice like he's Tony Robbins with a discount coupon.
Fooyo.
He's loud, predictable, and criticizes your choices like he's the CEO of I Told You So Inc. But somehow, you still kind of love him, not because he's ever right, but because the sheer nerve of this guy is so over the top, you can't help but laugh.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, who else could build an entire comedy career out of lecturing people about fried rice? It's like watching someone get famous for being the world's most passionate microwave critic. In conclusion, Uncle Roger's fried rice recipe may provide us with giggles and a fair share of eye rolls, but let's not pretend it's the end-all be-all of Asian cuisine. Sure, he's fun and we can all appreciate a good meme, but maybe, just maybe, we should take his recipe with a grain of salt. Preferably the same salt we'd sprinkle over that overcooked rice. The culinary world is vast, full of flavors and stories waiting to be told. So the next time you're in the kitchen whipping up fried rice, remember that while Uncle Roger might have your back, there's a whole universe of flavor just waiting for you to explore. Happy cooking. Good night, niece and nephew. The roast is over. Now go wash the dishes and put out the BBQ pit before Uncle Roger shows up and tries to deep fry his fried rice for dessert. If you're tired of Uncle Roger's jokes landing flatter than a soggy spring roll, hit that subscribe button. Don't get me wrong, the man's a comical genius. His one-liners are legendary, for better or worse. My roast is just some lighthearted fun. So, if you enjoy watching me poke fun at his rice obsession, tragic dad jokes, and olive oil nightmares, then let me know in the comments who I should roast next. Your sense of humor deserves the best, or at least better than Uncle Roger's Ferrari joke.